Hey everybody, welcome to the channel. It's the Bulldog coming at you. Do me a favor, if you like this type of stuff, hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, pass my channel on. All right, I'm gonna start doing a little something different. I think I'm gonna a couple times a week. I'm gonna do like a metal news podcast type with with albums that are coming out, reviews also, and any things that pop out to me in the world of metal and the news and everything. I want to start off with, I know a lot of people have seen this. A lot of people have been talking about it. Slayer. I know they just did 2 or 3 dates in I think it was Chicago at a thing called the Riot Fest. As you know, they said that they're going to be doing you know these festivals. Well, I saw a bunch of the songs they did. Um, for the most part, I think they sound good. Um, Tom's vocals, I think, are still are strong. Um, do they seem, a little flat at times? Yeah, but they still sounded pretty good. I think a lot of it could be, you know, rust, not playing for a while. Although Carrie and Paul Bostaff are on tour with Carrie's band. Um, Gary Holt looked like Gary Holt up there. Uh, Tom looked like he's starting to regress back, to like a you know younger Tom. Um, I saw a bunch of the songs, footage that people, you um, that were there recorded and put it up here. Um, he Carrie did a interview with Nikki Black of 107.7 uh, um, uh, radio station, and he basically said, there's no plans for you know, no new tour for them. There's no plans right now for any new record. So, but with Carrie and Tom, I think they want to get back out there, especially Tom. I think he wants to get back playing, back on the road. You know, to see his fans and just get out there and pump out those classic tunes from Slayer. Would I like it? Yeah. You know, I'm a huge Slayer fan. I saw their last tour they did. You know, um, but if they did it, I would want them to, you know, sound great, not just come back and say, "Oh, we're bored. We want to do this," and then call it quits again. You know, and I would want it to be Slayer. Does that mean getting Dave back in the band? I don't see that happening, as Dave has his hands going with like 2 or 3 other projects right now. And Carrie's with Paul and Carrie King's band. Um, so you never know. You know these bands, you know, get back out there after taking what I think 5 years, and now it is almost 4 years, whatever it is now. Off with the exception of Carrie. Um, Although Carrie did mention he has enough material, enough new material that he has written to do a couple more Carrie King albums. So I'm thinking, okay, you wrote all this stuff now, supposedly. You know, why can't you throw some, you know, at a new Slayer, like, output a new Slayer record, or So again, that's up in there. So all I think a lot of Slayer fans got their hopes up by it. You know, I don't want them to say, "Oh yeah, we'll be back," and they never do. I think a lot of fans that were there got their hopes up. You know, so I think in due time, you know, who knows? Maybe this time next year I'll be saying, Slayer's back with a new album. That's September 26th, 2004, exactly 1:43. I'm saying that right now. Who knows? Maybe next year, this time, you know, one can hope. So, yeah. But from what I saw of them, you know, the songs they did, they sounded on spot. Like, a little flat, you know, but I just think that's, rust, you know, not being out there for a while playing, you know. So, in due time, we'll see. Some other things, I know people, this is a couple days back, but Mike Dean has officially left Corrosion of Conformity. He is one of the founding members of C.O.C, a band that I absolutely love. I've been a big fan of them since I first heard them. Um, they were back. They were one of those bands back in the '80s that were part of that whole crossover. You know, them, DRI, Mucky Pup for that matter, Crumbsuckers, Ludacris. Um, so he said he's stepping away. Um, I think a lot. I think a lot had to do with it, with Reed passing away. Um, he even said the band after that happened, you know, there was no talk among, the members. Um, I think a lot of it had to do with, Reed passing away back in 20, I think it was 2020. Yeah, 2020. I think a lot of it had to do with Reed passing away. You know, Reed was it was Pepper, Reed, Woody, and Mike that formed C.O.C. You know, 84, 83. Actually about 84, 85, roughly in that era. So yeah, you know, but Mike Dean was saying that there's no guarantee that they're not going to come back. That there is some material for C.O.C that's being written. So who knows? You know, maybe in the near future there'll be a C.O.C album popping up next year. I'm hoping. You know, Reed Reed was an amazing drummer. Uh, you know, to be a part of that legacy that had a hand in that crossover movement back in the '80s. You know, I mean they put out some amazing records. Um, in my opinion, especially those first four. You know, uh, Animosity is like one of my favorite by them. Um, Blind, when they came, when they first got back together again. Um, Remember Mike Dean left the band in like '89, and then like, he came back. It was like '94. I think it was on the album Deliverance, is when he came back. You know, and it was classic tracks that they had. Holier, Crawling, Mad Worlds. The list just goes on and on. Bleorg. Yeah. um, you know, I would love to see another C.O.C. Record. I saw them a few times in the '90s, and a couple times in like early 2000s. So hopefully, you can only hope now, but definitely yeah. So C.O.C. on the back burner. Another thing, Maiden, Maiden. Everybody knows I'm a huge Maiden fan. I love Maiden. They just announced announced a 50th anniversary tour. Um, it's gonna start. I wrote down so I knew. Um, it's gonna start over in Budapest, 27th of May, and then it's gonna end in Poland on in sometime in August. But that's just the European dates. Um, they haven't released any North American dates yet, so I'm stoked about that. Guys, Maiden, New York, let's go, bring it back. Um, it's supposed to be a special set list that's basically going to be from um, Iron Maiden album to Fear of the Dark. So things in between those albums, from that album to Fear of the Dark, which I think is great. You know, it's from there, from Iron Maiden to Fear of the Dark. It's like some of my favorite tracks ever by them. So yeah, I already told Mrs. Metalhead, we're going. You know, especially for 50th anniversary of them. Yeah, I'm a huge Maiden fan. You know, so I'm definitely gonna keep my eyes and my ears peeled and open. You know, when they start announcing the tour dates for here in the U.S. Definitely. All right, I'm gonna do a couple reviews. There's a few of these albums that I have on my iTunes that I didn't get yet. As you know, I've been doing some, you know, health issues, medical issues. I'm probably looking at another surgery on my left shoulder. That'll be my second one in a year. So, um, so any new ones that I've been listening to, I've been getting on my iTunes. As I said it before, I use iTunes. You know, when album comes out, I'll listen to it and I'll end up buying it. Just right now, you know, the health issues and everything, and got to pay some bills. So, but yeah, I I have a bunch that I haven't put up on my Instagram yet, and albums I haven't even talked about yet. But there's a couple that came out that I have on my iTunes, and a couple that I just got in the mail that day that I've been waiting for it to come. First, there's a band from Jersey called Overlord. Overlorde. Not to be confused with Overlord from Ohio. Um, they're from Jersey. Awaken the Fury. They're on No Remorse Records. Uh, like a power metal, uh, heavy power metal, some underlyings of thrash in it, progressive a little bit, um, melodic. Like I said, some thrashy parts of it. It's a pretty good album. Um, the guys from Overlord um, reached out, or I reached out to the guys on from them on Instagram the other day. I was talking over a little bit. Um, this is their second release. They had one in '04. This band's been around since like '85, '87, but they just went quiet for a long time and then came back. Um, the guitar work on here, I think is great. Um, although there's sometimes that it's a little drawn out, but for the most part, I like the sound of it. There are heavy parts. Um, some of the breakdowns are awesome. The vocals are like very crisp and clean almost. Um, if you're in, I was trying to find some bands that you know that resemble them. Um, Definitely like early to like mid Fates Warning in a way. Um, Symphony X even newer Queensryche, the heaviness of it, and the vocals in a way, and also Seven Witches, same thing. Um, some of the songs that stuck out for me: Paranoid Delusions, Hammer Strike, um, and the last song on the album called Migraine, which is an absolute heavy song. It really is. Um, they're on iTunes. They're also on Instagram. I'll put their name and their link in the um, description later on. Uh, Again, Overlord. They're from, I believe they're from. I know Jersey. I'm not sure which exact part, but they're from New Jersey. I'm glad to see Jersey, putting out some metal again. East Coast, keep it going. Awaken the Fury, No Remorse Records. Check them out. They're on Instagram. Like I said, that heavy power metal type, like a little thrashy in it, progressive, but you know, pretty good record. It really is. Um, there was a couple more. These I wrote down, so I went to get them. I've been listening to these on my iTunes for a couple of days, just going back and forth to them. Um, there's a band called Acid Mass out of Toledo, Ohio. The album is called Worship. Um, Heavy, like almost like a blackened thrash metal, blackened death metal, um, like a war metal almost. They're on Morbid, Morbid Invisible Records. If you if you're into like um, I would say Hell Ripper, um, Midnight, even Toxic Holocaust. Um, they have that distinct sound like in Midnight with that angry vocal almost, and it's heavy stuff. Um, some of the tracks that stuck out for me, War Machine, Stench of Death, Hell from Above, Final Surrender. Like I said, from Toledo. Album just came out I think a few months ago. I've listened to them constantly on my iTunes. Heavy album, uh, very almost like a war metal, basically. Like a dark and thrash metal record. But definitely check them out. Next one, Carcosa. Um, Esoteric Cult is the name of the record. Um, they're on Redefining Darkness Records. Again, if you into like the Hell Ripper and Midnight, um, that like that, almost like a yelling type, you know, vocal, that typical that normal, war uh, vocal that I call it. Um, Blackened death metal, thrashy, um, dark, dark thrash, dark death metal, like black metal, you know, in there. You can hear it with the guitars and the drums and everything about them. Very, another heavy album. Very heavy, dark, dirty, cold album. I think. A few of the songs, Poison, uh, Poison of God, Remains of Creation, uh, Shattered Thrones. Uh, I listened to it a few times. It's very, 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 very catchy band, very catchy album, in my opinion. Um, there's no one that I'm gonna pick up eventually. Like I said, all the new ones that I get on my iTunes, I end up getting them probably in the next, a couple weeks. But with things going on, health wise, I got bills to pay, and so, you know, I know people are, there's people telling me, friends of mine on here, like Clay was telling me, you're on YouTube, put up a PayPal. I'm like, I'm not monetized yet. Like, hell with that. Just put me PayPal. I'm not the one for money. That's not me. And they're like, okay, you know, you never know. People might drop you some, some cash unexpectedly. So I did. I put it up. Me and me and Mrs. Metalhead, my fiance, we share the same PayPal, so it's, like I'm not asking for nothing. It's in my description. All right. The next one, I like this band. Um, I I think classy Lonnie Metal turned me on to this band. It was another classy Lonnie. I mentioned him in here before. He's on here. Awesome channel. He does reviews and a whole nine. He's also on Instagram under the same name. Um, Beyond the Grave, Beyond the Grave of the Moon. They're on two Tupos Zeva Records. I think I pronounced that right. Again, that black and death metal, uh, black metal, um, dark, angry thrash almost. Um, a few of the songs, the obscure, um, cremate. Just another one of these bands. It's a heavy, dark, cold type band album. Um, Again, The Falls, uh, Beyond the Grave of the Moon. Check them out. Um, I I would say I like that darkened thrash, that darkened um, death metal. Like that angry type death metal, black metal feel, like that the war metal and like pagan metal almost basically. But definitely check them out. All right, the next few. I've been waiting for this album to come out for a while. New Flotsam and Jetsam. I Am the Weapon. It's out on AFM Records. This band doesn't need no introduction. Amazing record. It has a classic Flotsam sound, melodic. The vocals are some of my favorite by them. Heavy album. Um, has a typical, you know, Flotsam breakdown. Um, the strong, heavy power ballads that they do. Um, I think this in their past two records have been astonishing. That's another band, Flotsam and Jetsam, I've been into for a long time. Um, I don't think they really put out a bad record. And I love Flotsam. One of my favorite by them is I think it was 2010 release, The Cold, which that album, a lot of people, you know, didn't like too much. Why? I don't know. I like that album personally. I think it's a deep album, a personable album, a heavy album. You know, um, like I said, it's Flotsam and Jetsam. Been a huge fan of them. It's supposed to be a full blown tour for this record. I already told Mrs. Metalhead we're going to it, no matter what. Yeah, we're going to it. Um, but definitely check them out. Um, Definitely my running for album of the year, in my opinion. Next one is Kvaen, another another one of my favorite from 2024. Again, Swedish metal, black metal, almost like a mix of like pagan and Viking metal. Um, Formless Fires, they're on Metal Blade. Um, a couple of my favorites: Darkness, The Ancient Gods, uh, the title track. You know, I think this is like their third release, if I'm not mistaken. Um, I when I first heard that, I had to go back one album. Yeah, but great album. I've been spinning that one constantly, along with the ones I just mentioned on my iTunes, and now the Flotsam. Another one is the new God Dethroned. They're on uh, Rain and Phoenix music, RPM music. Um, Black and thrash, death metal. Th- I was skeptical about this one because their last record, um, Illuminati or what it was called, it wasn't a bad album, but it wasn't, you know, that typical God dethroned sound. Um, Dutch band from Netherlands. Uh, Another band I've been into for a long time. I forgot which record it was. Um, I think like the fourth one. Oh my god, it's over there somewhere. Um, that's why I get into them. I had to go back a couple. I've been a fan of them, you know, for a while, a long time. One band I do want to see live. I haven't seen this band live yet. Um, a few of my favorite, uh, Providence, Eyes of the Providence, Hailing Death, Rat Kingdom, The Hangman, War Machine, heavy track. It's an intense album, heavy album, and at times an angry album. They're going on tour. I'm hoping it hits up here. I gotta check their site. This fall, with Vlitmus. Yeah, I keep pronouncing that name wrong. Vlitmus and I had it written down because I was gonna forget the name. Bastushka. Who I gotta look into more. I've never really heard of them, but yeah, they're going up on a full tour with them. It's supposed to be a full world tour of this, so I'm hoping. And I know they're also going to be they're also supposed to be on a couple of festivals, over in Europe, I believe in the winter. So definitely, again, God the Throne. I I think it's one of their best releases. It definitely outdoes the last one, in my opinion. Um, Judas Paradox. I I've been spinning this, the Kvaen, the Flotsam, excuse me, a few others nonstop. And I got some new ones that I haven't even spun yet. You know, like I said, dealing with health issues is no fun. But and also, I don't know if I talked about this one yet. I'm not even sure. New Hammerfall, uh, Nuclear Blast Records, Avenge the Falling. I'm a huge power metal fan. I've been a huge fan of Hammerfall. My favorite record by Hammerfall is Revenge. Renegade. I'm sorry, Renegade. Um, I think it's a lot heavier for them. It still has that, you know, that classic Hammerfall sound, that extreme power metal, as I call it. Um, Progressive, a little bit thrashier. Um, this time around, uh, but the vocals are some of my favorite by them. Um, definitely plan on catching them either end of this year or next year. But definitely pick this record up. Hammerfall, Avenge the Fallen, out on Nuclear Blast. There's been some I think some great releases this year. Um, I'm working on. I know I did one stream. I did a so far best of, or so far my favorite of. Um, I plan on, when I end up getting more. I mean, I got a bunch this year already. Um, I know a lot of people are saying to me, so do a best of, and the ones that you don't have hard copy of, you got them on your iTunes. Talk about them. Big deal. You know, I know it's all the start of me with, starting this channel. I want to have physical copies of everything. I'm people like, just talk about them. You know, so, and that's coming from, you know collector friends of mine. So thank you. I'm gonna cut this one short. I just wanted to talk about, um, what I've been spinning in the news. Like I said, I'm gonna start doing like a news, like a metal news uh, review, new album releases, things like that. And any pertaining any news pertaining to metal, that comes out that I feel that should be out there, and basically news stories of bands that interest me. I'm not gonna worry about some other genre that, well, no. Anyways, thank you guys for tuning in. I hope you guys enjoy this as much as I enjoy doing it. Again, I might be coming back on a little bit later or tomorrow, um, but I just want to do a quick thing. So, as always, thanks for tuning in. Smash that like button, subscribe, share my channel out. Stay heavy, stay hard, stay metal. Keep waving that metal flag. And as always, like the Bulldog says, if you're going to do something, make it count. Bulldog says, I appreciate you guys. I'm out.